Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Chess Mathsters. Today, Yawning Astronaut is going to be analyzing two games that I played on Chess Kids, both against 1400 rated players and above. We're going to start off with my favorite of the two, which is actually the Italian game. So here's how the game went. It all started with my favorite, e4, e5, knight of 3, knight of 6, bishop c4. In this position, I was white, and you know how I made the video on Italian game, so you know how much I love this. So after the typical Jokio piano game, we saw the main line turn into the center attack. After a bunch of trades, this happened. Now, you saw this exact position in my Italian game. If you haven't watched that video, please go back and check that out. It will give you a lot of background on why each player makes certain moves. But here is how you checkmate your opponent. Look at this. Knight to c3. And after this putting pressure on the pin piece occurs, I completely ignore the threat and I castle. Why do I do this? Because I'm actually luring black into a trap. Once black takes and I take back, it looks like I'm losing material. I'm already down by 2 pawns and my next move seems like a blunder. But actually, queen to b3 is a winning move. Because after black takes the rook, look at this battery we have on the f-file. It is so dominant. There's nothing that they can do to stop us. So look, after a few more moves that show how dominant this move is, it's clear that I'm going to win the queen. But that's the least of black's concern right now. They need to stop checkmate. We have 3 pieces working to checkmate the king, and if they don't do something, they're going to lose. And in fact, this is what happened to this 1500 rated player. After playing knight to e7 in a desperate attempt to save the queen, I just quickly put pressure on the pin piece, and I'm winning. Here, black made a blunder and played knight c6. This isn't necessarily a bad move because every other move is losing, but after I take and he recaptures, there's mate in 1. All right, that's the first game, and I'll be back with the second one in a moment. All right, so this game was Yawning Astronaut Black, and I was playing against another 1400 rated player. These moves are a little bit more complicated, nothing we've covered in the video. They're pretty unique, but I'll show you. It starts with a red eye opening, knight of 3, the book move. And I put this in analysis mode just so you can see the blunders on both sides. And I did make a few mistakes as well, and we're going to take a look into that. So we go through a few book moves, and I play a good move, knight of 6, whereas, as you can see, they give you bishop g4 being the best move. So this is a cool little analysis board on chess.com. You can go through this and take a look on what you can do to make your games better. All right, so after this move, bishop to b5, c4 was the best move, you see in the green arrow. I try and kick that bishop out of there. We have a quick trade, which is both best moves, and he jumps in with knight e5. Here I ignore the threat and play this move, hoping to get my king castled after saving my queen. I clear the area so my king can castle. This was not the best move, c5 was, and you can see because there's a possible trade that could open up the d file. So then after an inaccuracy by the other side, a3, it doesn't seem to do much. I quickly castle, hoping to get my king safe. Once again, not the best move, but computers don't always necessarily dive in deep enough to know about sacrifices and such. So I'm going to just give you this as a warning. Everything you see here isn't necessarily true. Computers and humans work very differently, so certain moves are not the best in some scenarios, according to the computer. So we go through an inaccuracy here. Yes, I do agree that this is an inaccuracy. It just seems like it's sacrificing a pawn and doesn't do much for the white. After the pawn sacrifice, knight takes c4 is a mistake because of queen to d5, which double attacks the knight and the pawn on g2. However, I didn't see this, actually, so I played this move, which is also an alternative because it attacks both things, but I wasn't actually paying attention to the g2 square. So after a blunder by the other team that completely pushes, or the computer would think it pushes me to take to g2, unfortunately, I didn't see this. Yes, I made a mistake. And instead, I played a blunder e5. Now this blunder isn't necessarily a blunder because I'm looking to play bishop to e6 and put some pressure on the pinned piece. But he noticed the queen takes d2, and I didn't, so he castled, which was the best move. The computer didn't see this move after a quick trade that I play bishop to e6. So this is a sneaky move because it pins the knight. And if the knight is taken, we are double attacking the queen and the rook on f1. So after guarding it, I played knight e4. The computer thinks this is an inaccuracy. However, the way the human mind works, it's probably not. Take a look. Queen to d3 is good. However, I wanted to just remove the guard. So after removing the guard, I unfortunately didn't see knight takes d2 as an alternative, and I was going to prepare to play once he recaptured the bishop, takes. Bishop to c4 takes. Unfortunately, he took back this way, so I had to figure out a way to get that knight out of there so I could play the pin, bishop to c4. So I made what they thought was an inaccuracy, but actually wasn't. They played what was supposed to be the best move. They did not see this in return. They thought it was a good move, but actually it is a winning move, and you'll see why in a moment. After the queen is forced to move, that was a blunder. You see the best move there, highlighted in the green arrow. This next move is played, which is pretty confident from my side, actually, because I was willing to risk this king taking back on f1, which would have been a problem for me. White actually took here, which was a blunder and led to mate and 1. I'll give you about 15 seconds to see if you can find it. Can you find mate and 1? If you couldn't find it, it is queen to g2. This is the best move. It's a mate, and it's very sneaky because the queen is guarding what was unguarded, the f1 bishop. That's it for another episode of Chess Masters, and we hope to see you in another video. Thank you.